You're listening to Mr. Liverpool himself, Frank Carlyle, exclusively on Mersey Radio.
Good evening, everybody, and it's Frank Carlyle here from Mersey Radio, and in here we've got, well, to my direct right, we've got fellow historian, wonderful person, great voice, great everything, Jason Pinnington. So we've got John O Hare.
Good evening, Frank. It's great to be back.
Great, absolutely wonderful. And also, well, this fella's a guest anyway tonight on the show, and it's great actually because this fella is the paranormal. And I said, don't be telling me things before the show. Don't be telling me. Wait till you've got your guest spot, and we'll be talking about all your paranormal activities and investigations and everything else. And that's Jamie Williams.
Hello, Frank. Nice to see you and everyone again.
Oh, that's absolutely wonderful. I'll tell you another thing as well. We've just had a couple of messages in. One from Mark Kinnish, who's just come back from his holiday. He said, I couldn't miss the show. And he's just got back from Lake Garda in Italy.
God, it must have been a bad holiday, that.
Couldn't miss the show. Anyway, it's so say hello, man.
Fantastic. Hello. God, I hope you've got a tan.
Hello, Mark.
Well, this is it. That's all we needed from you. No, nothing else. Hello, Mark. It's just like trying to get blood out of the stone at you two. And also, Mo's listening in. So say hello.
Hello, Mo.
Hello, Mo.
What is it?
Once more.
Jason, where'd you get these two? You don't say nothing. Say absolutely nothing. Anyway, we've got great guests on the show tonight. We've got Greg Quiery, a great historian, this fella. Well, you know Greg, don't you?
Irish historian, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, just mentioned Jamie. Jamie's on talking about his paranormal stuff. I was going to say paraphernalia. Talking about his paraphernalia. But anyway, we won't be talking down, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean. And also, we've got Pussyfoot, which they're on around 9:15, and obviously we'll be talking to Monty Connor. No, Monty. Are we talking to them all tonight? Is the full band on just Monty?
It's Jamera and Julio.
Oh right, okay. Yeah. Because Jamera, she had an accident.
She did.
Was involved in an accident, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was supposed to be on about 3 weeks ago, wasn't she?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. The band is Jamera Simmons, who's the vocals, brilliant singer by the way. Because we're playing a couple of their songs.
We are. Yep.
Julio Miranda. Now, is it Julio or is it Julio? Come on.
Gotta be Julio, surely.
I think you say it the Scouse way, don't you? You've got to say it the Scouse way.
Julio, like Marbella. I'm going to Marbella. Hey, is that right?
I'm sure whatever we say, it'll be wrong.
Yeah, no matter what. Yeah.
Joey Smith. Now there's a fine name, isn't it? Joey Smith. You wouldn't expect that from an American, would you?
The ones we can pronounce aren't with us, though.
yeah, like oh yeah, because Grant Niebergall. I was trying to pronounce that name.
Niebergall, yeah.
Niebergall, Chris Redzitz. Oh, it's terrible. And Monty Connor, the band member, and he plays bass. Joey Smith plays the drums. Julio Miranda, he's guitarist. And that lovely Jamera Simmons, who I'm going to marry, is on the vocals. Going to propose tonight, by the way.
Oh.
Well, you don't mind, do you?
Can we be ushers?
Can you imagine you dressed in a little velvet suit?
I've got one at home. What are you talking about?
John, as long as we don't wave our arms, you'll be all right.
That's true. Yeah.
Anyway, and great music, and also hopefully we'll have Joe Whittaker on. And who we've got on next week is Grant Niebergall. Grant Niebergall is on next week, along with David Howe. Oh. Now, who's David Howe?
Doctor Who expert.
And are you here, John?
I am here next week.
Well, there you go. You're going to sit there, aren't you?
I'm just going to be made up. Yeah. I will, especially after last night's Saturday's Doctor Who.
Oh, don't tell me about it.
No, watch it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I know, because I know it's his last one. And great music, obviously, because I'll tell you who we've got music from. We've got Dire Straits. We've just had Dire Straits. Living Years by who?
Mike and the Mechanics.
Mike and the Mechanics. Religion and Cowgirl by Pussyfoot.
Oh, right, I was thinking about that.
Right, and I want to know what love is. I want you to show me.
No chance, mate.
Yeah, well, all right. Well, who's that by?
Oh, that's interesting. Is that, no, you know what? I always get stuck. It's a foreigner.
Yes, there you go. Got us on one. Do you know what I'm into? I know it's not, and I hadn't heard it for years. And then all of a sudden I heard it. And then I kept playing it. It's Black Sabbath.
Right. Oh, absolutely fantastic, yeah.
That's
really, really good.
Great,
yeah.
Going,
Iron Man, wasn't it, from that album, yeah. Yeah, Iron Man, yeah.
It's a fantastic...
I think that's appearing in a movie, on the soundtrack. I'm sure of it.
Do you know what? No, I was thinking of that. And I was thinking, what one is it?
It's not Ragnarok with Thor, is it? Thor's new one. I know they've got Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. I thought Black Sabbath on there as well.
I don't know.
It'd suit, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would suit that.
It would suit. It would suit. Absolutely brilliant. So this is what you've got. This is all, the music and everything else. And great guests. Can't wait to talk to them and to see what everything's in about. Because we'll be going over to Greg in a few minutes. What do you think of the weather, boys? It's been changeable, hasn't it?
UK weather, used to it.
It was gorgeous, wasn't it? Now it's got very, very rain. It's got rain bases in it. I was down in Shrewsbury last week.
Was you?
Yeah, it was, yeah. 3 days in Shrewsbury. And it was beautiful the first day.
Did you go all the way back for Frank's show?
Yeah, I did. Just for Frank's show. It was, Jasper Carr was on. Bevan Band. Jeff Turton used to be Jefferson. Don't know if you remember him.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Stunning they were. Really good. But, lovely night. Walked to the hotel about 11 o'clock. Lovely red sky. 4 in the morning. Red sky night. Sailors delight. No, teaming down. I was on my breakfast at 8 o'clock. Looking out the window. Just coming down in sheets.
It's unbelievable.
Stair rods it was.
Do you know when they say about stair rods? Do you know when they talk about it was raining cats and dogs? You know where that saying comes from?
No, actually, that's interesting.
Well, what it is, like during the Thatch period, you've got to go back to the Elizabethan times or the Tudor period. I say all the Tudor period. And what cats and even dogs, to get warm and keep warm, because they always used to get kicked. They used to run up the there and hide or stay, in the thatch.
Yeah.
In the thatch.
My word, it would never.
So when it rained, they used to just leap away, to get out the rain.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
Cats and dogs.
Fascinating. Have you ever stayed in a thatched
I have
cottage?
Indeed. I have indeed.
What did you think when you look up the sky? I know it's a lot of plaster there. You have the edges which you can see the thatch. Well, it's great because the warmth. It's so warm, and you can hear everything move. The creaking in the thatch itself, isn't it? It's brilliant, absolutely great. Because there's a thing about the peacock, isn't there, on top of the thatched?
That's right.
Is that if you paid fully, they took it down, but if you only paid half, they put peacock on there. That was the idea.
That was the idea.
And what was the other thing about the fox? Was the fox? You told me there's something about the fox where they put that on after every 10 years, and they put a different sort of symbol on it, because after 30 years you've got to change it again.
Well, do you know what? It's funny that you're saying that, and you're spot on, because how can I say this? The Chinese calendar.
Yeah.
You have the year of that and the year. Well, this was the same. Little traditions in this particular country.
Yeah.
So
each different one would symbolise how many. Wow, God's fascinating, that, isn't it?
It is. So anyway, we've just that's a message here. It's from Andy Gamble, and he says, "Hey, we're live. This week. Missed you all last week. Great show, especially when Frank sings there." So. Andy was at a show at the Epstein.
Yeah.
I'll get onto this, and it was a sellout. And it was for Jamie Summers. Now, Jamie's been on the show, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, searching. brilliant. They're brilliant, absolutely brilliant to searching. And Andy, and you know what? Something come on a social network, you know, and he was rehearsing, and he sounded great, you know. But you see him totally different, you know, rehearsing to what you know, then they go on overnight. Yeah. And it was a sellout, and they were that good. We've always said this, though, haven't we? They were that good that they've been booked to even play abroad.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that fantastic? Yeah.
Well, especially the resurgence of Mersey pieces. That's they're at the forefront of it, aren't they?
Well, I keep asking them to come on the show.
Get them on.
And there's always something, you know. He says, yeah, no, I can't wait. And then all of a sudden he's called away for something.
Really busy all the time,
Busy, unfortunately.
It could be the duet, though, Frank, you know, trying to do a duet with you.
Well, this is it, you see.
You could be PJ Proby, you can, like, sort of imitation, sort of...
Are you trying to be funny with PJ?
No, PJ Proby really had a cracking voice.
And I heard him singing, right?
Yeah.
And you know, all of a sudden he just went into this like sort of total version of Elvis.
He could do a brilliant Elvis impression.
It just sounded like him.
Yeah, he was very underrated, wasn't he, PJ Proby?
Of course he was. Yeah. Of course he was. And you know, he's the type of fella who you did go and see. Mm-hmm. You did go and see. And he was a great showman. He was a wonderful showman. Anyway, what we're going to have now, we're going to have Greg Quiery. I'm not saying it's a funny name, but you know when you try to say it, especially after one of Jason's cup of teas, you know.
He put gin in it again, has he?
I don't know what it is.
Thankful you've got a cup of tea.
The
good biscuits in as well. You polished off half the biscuits before we started, look.
They're the best biscuits.
I know. The Toffo biscuits are my fave.
Oh, you want to taste
there's that? There's going to be rivalry tonight.
Do you know what kind of biscuits they are?
They look like custard creams.
Well, they do look like, but they're not. Do you know what they are?
What are they?
I'm going to tell you right now. Okay. The cheesecake biscuits.
We are on the radio, you know, not the television.
But we'll do a review of the biscuits as well.
Well, all right.
Yeah. Greg's licking his lips as we speak.
Jason Pinnington, you know, the...
Biscuit man.
Yeah, the biscuit man. The team man. It's great, isn't it? I'm producer of the Frank Carlyle show. It's marvellous, isn't it? But anyway, you know, when Greg comes on, I think we're going to talk...
It's ringing now.
I think we're going to talk about a little architecture.
Okay, cool. Liverpool architecture? Or?
Liverpool architecture.
Okay, yeah.
And in a couple of weeks, you know what we'll be talking about?
With Greg?
No. With a couple of others. Conspiracy theories.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
Conspiracy theories. There'll be Ed Gilchrist, friend of the show. Yeah. Paul Capper.
Oh, good. Big Paul.
Big Paul, he'll be down talking about...
I listened to his new album, you know.
Did you?
Yeah, I listened for the first time on when I was away, actually. Brilliant. Yeah. I recommend, I know we don't advertise, but recommend to pick it up. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's the best one yet.
Well, this is you know, because Paul is a friend of this show, and why not just say, you know, that it's a great album.
It was catchy. I played it about 4 times in the trot in the car. It was really, really good. I couldn't believe it, actually. But then again, you know what he's like. He's playing a lot more gigs in the Cavern, isn't he? And hopefully, you know, we can go down and see him one day and do a review or do a live sort of thing down there if we can. Because I know that when he comes on the show, he's just so witty, isn't he? Just dead funny as well as very knowledgeable on the musical side of things. Especially when you talk about conspiracy theories.
Yes.
You know, we haven't done conspiracy theories for a while, have we?
No,
you know.
No, we haven't.
But anyway, let's have a look with old Greg and see what he says, because I mean, I'm sure with the architecture, you absolutely are just the top man in architecture in Liverpool, so it's really interesting to see what he's going to ask.
Well, the thing, I thought, you know, we can talk a little bit about it. And there's a fella eating a lot of ice.
Okay, I think we've got Greg. Do you want to give it a go?
Yeah, give it a go.
Yeah.
Let's see if he's there, because I think...
Is he there? Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Hello. Hey, there you are. You're okay, Greg?
Not too bad, Frank. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm fine.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, loud and clear and everything else. And it's as though that you were sitting here with us, but, you know, just have to explain to the listeners that it's through Skype that you're
That's right.
ringing through. Anyway, what would you like to talk about tonight, Greg?
Well, I was saying to Jay earlier on that there's a building I was very fond of has just been knocked down.
Go on.
It's in Bevington Bush. It was.
Oh, is that Arden House, is it?
No, it was a building which, a bit like myself, wasn't a lot to look at, but had got a lot of character. It used to be the old North Corporation School. And, I sometimes conduct these walks around the Scotland Road area.
Yeah.
And got another couple of people who do it with me. And at the time we were designing the walk, we had great difficulty finding any buildings which were still standing, but this was one of them.
Yeah.
And as I say, it wasn't much to look at, but it did have a lot of history attached to it.
Yeah.
Because it was a school built in the 1820s. The corporation built a North Corporation School and the South Corporation School. Yeah. And then whenever the Liberals got control of the City Council in the 1830s, they decided to change the curriculum to allow all denominations to come into the school.
Right.
Previous to that, because it was a Tory-run council, they only allowed Church of England teaching, even though people from all denominations were paying their city rates. Yeah. And when the Liberals changed the curriculum so that all children could come, then you had a wide variety of people from different denominations coming into the school.
That's right.
The Tories had a fierce campaign to say the Bible has been expelled from the school. Yeah. The Liberals thought because that wasn't true that people wouldn't believe it, but people did believe it. And the Tory used that platform to get back control of the City Council. So it was quite... it
was very controversial at the time, though.
Very controversial at the time, yep. And it was quite an interesting old building. And one day, Phil Cashin, who lives in the area and who does a tour with me, phoned me up to say our school is gone. And
I didn't know that, you know. I didn't know that. And that's a shame, because any building that's not only got character but is full of history should remain. And that's the point about buildings. Any building that's 1820. You're talking 1820. You're nearly talking 200 years.
200 years. Yeah.
And
if you go down Duke Street going into town, and take the first turn on your left, there's a building there where they've built a new block of student flats, but they've kept the old facade on the lower floors, and they could easily have done that with this building.
Of course, there's lots of controversy over Lime Street, because people were pleading, and myself included, to keep the Futurist. Now, the Futurist was the very first purpose-built cinema in the city centre. That was the very first purpose-built cinema in the city centre. Yeah. And take it away. It's getting knocked out, and it would have been a beautiful, beautiful facade. Whether it was going to be apartments, whether it was going to be a shop, whether it was going to be anything. And the unfortunate thing is, they knocked it down. And this is the 21st century. This is the 21st century. And they demolished it in 2016. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I think the fault lies with the City Council, because
of course it does.
Am I wrong, or could they insist that developers keep some of these?
Of course they can, because developers want to do something, Greg. They want to do something, but if they turn around and said, look, you can develop there, but you've got to retain this, they'd have to, and they would incorporate what building that they were going to put there. It's only a doorway for there.
Yes, yep.
God's sake,
So, and so that means that when we visit Bevington Bush now, there's virtually nothing left of the old buildings that used to be there.
Yeah.
Which is a real shame. It's a tragedy, really. You can still see the old sandstone blocks in the building line there. Yeah. And I've had a look, because one of the features was you had a sign above the doorway saying boys and girls, where the children went into the school.
Yeah.
So I'd like to maybe retrieve those signs, but I've not had any luck in finding them yet.
Well, there's one up. There's a very similar school up by Liverpool Community College in Clarence Street. You know.
Yes.
Have you seen
Street.
that?
Yes. Yeah.
Very similar. Very similar type of school.
And
that's been retained.
That's been retained. There were plans to build a dual carriageway right through that school at one time, but they had a public inquiry and the public inquiry, there were so many objections to it, they decided to not build a dual carriageway, and that school was one of the buildings that would have been right in the middle of it.
Well, do you know, I'll tell you something else, Greg. Do you know, obviously you've been in the city centre, do you know the wonderful Blue Coat Chamber? I forgot what the pig it was called. Do you know the Blue Coat Chambers?
Yes, yeah.
Well, that was built in 1717, and a fellow by the name of Brian Blundell, gave the money for it to be built. Queen Anne building, fantastic building, and it's the oldest freestanding building in the city centre. Now, the point is, going back to the 1870s, you mightn't be aware of this, but then again, you might be aware of it. I think John knows about this. John O Hare, who's sitting next to me. What they wanted to do was he was going to have a sort of get onto this. This is wonderful. This is the ingenuity of Liverpool at the time during the 19th century, and they wanted to build a monorail all the way to Manchester. And they wanted it that you could be in Manchester within 30 minutes.
Good word.
And you're talking the latter part of the 19th century.
That's amazing for the 19th century, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But do you know what would have had to go? And everything was in plans and everything else.
Yeah.
And do you know what would have had to go? The Blue Coat Chambers, because that would have been the terminus.
Yeah.
So what is it, a good thing or a bad thing?
So we didn't get the monorail, but we've got the Blue Coat.
Yeah. We still got the Blue Coat. Not only that, but we haven't even got a tram system.
No.
And we had the blueprint, the first blueprints in the world, and that's why we gave it to. That's why we gave it. Here's something for you. Here's something for you. And a question was sent in, Greg. This is nice. You'll enjoy this. And it said, seeing that you're talking, you and your guest mustn't know your name, Greg. Seeing that you and your guest are talking about buildings, and which is great. What was Westminster Chambers famous for? Because I remember you mentioning it a while back, a couple of months back, and it's gone completely out of my mind. And unfortunately, these people don't put a name to it; they just send it through. And do you know Westminster Chambers? I'll tell you where it is, Greg. You know the old Magistrates Court, Dale Street, the beginning of Dale Street?
Yes, yeah.
Right facing there, there's a building, and it's called Westminster Chambers. It used to be, they used to have a locksmith there. Right facing.
Yeah, I remember that.
Chubb. Chubb.
That's right.
And now they're apartments, and it's a beautiful building. And it was built by Richard Owens in 1880. Right? 1880 it was built by. And you know what? It's funny because people went down, Greg. Yeah. The candle makers, the oil lamp makers, and also the gas people. And they said, what ones you want here? Richard. Richard Owens. He said, I don't want none of them. He said, I'm going to get this new fandangle thing. And he said, what's this new? What's a fandangle thing? And he said, electricity. That's how he pronounced it. So that was the first building in Liverpool to use electricity, Greg.
Was it? Well, that's something I didn't know, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know whether you ever remembered the Shakespeare Theatre or know about it in Fraser Street in Liverpool.
No.
Well, the Shakespeare Theatre is where all the likes of Sir Ken Dodd, appeared, and all the major stars and everybody else. Well, that was the very first theatre in the whole of the country to have electricity. And they knocked that down. How about that? They knocked it down. Yeah. So, go ahead, Greg. Anything else?
I've got another thing. Yes, I've since the last speaking to you, I've been to a book launch.
Yeah.
And I'm holding the book up here where you might be able to see it. It's called Liverpool Sectarianism: The Rise and Fall.
Wow.
Have you come across it?
No.
It's written by a guy who lives right beside Goodison Park, Keith Roberts.
Keith Roberts.
Yeah, Keith Daniel Roberts.
Yeah.
And Keith has done. He's written a terrific book, and he's done a lot of research into the Liverpool sectarianism and how it has diminished so much over the years.
Right.
And he's also looked at how the modern day Liverpool identity emerged in the 60s, and it's really interesting, and I thought that might be somebody
what's
you
it
could...
called again?
It's called Liverpool Sectarianism.
Just Liverpool Sectarianism.
And then the subheading is The Rise and Demise.
Okay.
And he talks about the football clubs and the importance of the music scene and all that sort of thing. His family are Everton supporters. In generations gone by, they were strongly Protestant, so he's got a lot of stuff in there about the football clubs and all the rest.
Well, because that'll be very interesting from this Keith Roberts. I might get that, actually. Now, the thing is, well, I will get it, to be honest. The thing is, if you were going back, I'm talking now, if you were a blue, you were Catholic, you were deemed to be Catholic, and if you were a Liverpool supporter, you were deemed to be a Protestant. Mm-hmm. Well, that was it was just a silly little urban legend, to be honest. It was a fable. It was a little myth, and it's only because the Everton Football Club allowed priests and nuns into the ground for free, and that's why they thought that it was.
Sorry, hello, Greg. It's John here. It's interesting talking about that, because I always got the impression, maybe because I'm like a younger generation, that in the 70s and the 80s there was a lot of Irish players playing for Liverpool, so you assume that if there was any sectarianism, that it was Liverpool that were the Catholic team rather than Everton. But St Domingo's was a Church of England, wasn't it?
St Domingo's a Church.
So that was the other reason why we assumed. But then I've heard other people say, because I'm completely ignorant on this, you can fill us in on it. I got the impression that there wasn't really much of a religious bias in either one of the club.
I don't think there was, but there was bias.
Right.
When you go back to the likes of Tommy Smith.
Right.
And Chris Lawler, people like that.
Right.
They only used to pick the best players out of colleges.
Right.
They wouldn't go to the shall we say, just the ordinary schools, the ordinary state schools, and they had to be colleges.
So it was a class thing, really?
Well, it was a class thing, because I know a couple of lads who came from my way. Peter Williamson, for example, a Tony Rainford,
right.
A Raymond Brooks, and Tony Allen, a fella named Tony Allen. Fantastic footballers,
right.
And I mean fantastic. And unfortunately, because they went to our school, the inner city, they had never had a chance.
Is that because Brian Hall used to be called the Don, didn't he? And it was at Stevie Highway as well as the degree.
Yeah, Bambi,
Bambi, and little Bamba. Right, that explains that.
After Gascoigne,
Yeah. The Liverpool connection there, isn't it?
Oh, big Liverpool connection with George, who arrested along with I forget his Balustrade Town.
Oh God, Balustrade Town.
I don't know whether you're aware of this, Greg, but they actually arrested John Bellingham, who had just assassinated Spencer Percival in 1812. And he was a Liverpool lad as well from.
Was he? Yeah.
Yes, he certainly was. Have you got anything else, Greg?
Well, Keith would have a lot to say on that topic you've just been discussing if you had him on the programme. The last thing is that I've at long last finished a little book I'm doing on the history of the Irish in Liverpool. So I'm hoping to have that published sometime later in the year. So when that comes out, I'll get in touch with you and have
but
a
what
chat
would
about
you?
it.
You know, I wouldn't mind having Keith Roberts on. I'll tell you for why. You know, anything books or anything like that, especially about Liverpool, and especially about sectarianism. I think it's fascinating. I really think it's a fascinating subject.
It is. Well, Keith's book is the best thing I've read on the topic of sectarianism in Liverpool.
Have you ever had anything by Frank O'Neill?
Yes.
And that was about sectarianism as well.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Keith's book is a kind of follow-on to that in a way because
Well, that'll do me.
it talks about how it declined and disappeared. I was looking at a clip today on YouTube from Panorama in 1964.
Oh, right.
Where they talked about how they went to Anfield to see the Liverpool-Arsenal match.
Yeah.
And they said an amazing thing has happened at Anfield football ground. Football fans have started singing. And prior to that, it was only in rugby matches that fans would actually sing. And so Panorama went there to see what was going on and found, they said, especially in the Kop end of the ground, the fans were singing, and one of the songs they had on the programme was "She Loves You."
That's right. It's well and truly documented now. We've all seen that, and I was actually in the Kop.
Oh yeah.
And do you know who else was in? Stan Boardman. You see Stan?
Really?
Yeah, you actually see Stan.
Good.
You know, with his wavy curly hair, so to speak.
How old was he then?
Stan, he was about 68.
He must have been only a young man, mustn't he?
Oh, he was a very young man. You never asked me how old I was.
Oh, we know how old you probably were.
Shut up now. You're going a bit too far now. Anyway, we've only got a minute, Greg, and it's been absolutely wonderful.
Well, it's very nice to talk to you, Frank. Very interesting.
So listen, you know, when you're on again next month, what would you like to talk about?
Next month,
you're away.
I'll be away, but in September I'll be around.
Okay, that'll do me.
Give you a bit of info on what I've got in the book, and maybe preview some of the things we've got on in the Irish Festival.
That'll be fantastic. I'll tell you that. Okay, no, that'll be great because the Irish Festival's coming up, as you know.
It's in October, so if we have a chat in September, that'll preview it.
Well, listen, do you know, if you don't mind, send through to Jason some information about Keith Roberts and us, you know, if we can get hold of him sometime.
Yeah,
is that
I
okay?
will do. Yeah, will do, Frank, yeah.
Honestly, well done, and be made up to see you back in September, and just enjoy your rest if you're going for a rest.
I'll look forward to it, and speak to you another time, John.
Take care now, Greg. Brilliant to speak to you again.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot anyway. I'll see you again.
Take care. See you soon.
And you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that was the wonderful Greg Quiery. He's fascinating, this fella, isn't he? He's
really
given us some great information. Anyway, we've just had a message in from... Paul Beck. He's just said, "Hey, we're alive." Oh, no, that was Andy Gamble, wasn't it? Paul Beck's just gone like that. He said, "Okay, Frank, good evening all."
Good evening, Paul.
Hello.
And in Tenerife, I've been in Tenerife for 3 weeks, back sober now, so he's back sober, and listening in. So it's good evening, Paul, from us all, as you know, and the lads and everybody else, and just keep listening in. It's going to be a great show. Anyway, what have we got now, Jason? Have we got something coming up? And
we're going to play a song.
We're going to play a song. I knew that. I was just testing you there. And it's, I'll tell you what it is. This is just before we go over to the one and only Jamie Williams. And it's The Living Years by Mike and the Mechanics. Well, it's not really Mike and the Mechanics. It's me singing. So I'm going to sing live.
It's a bit ironic, isn't it? A bit ironic, The Living Years, the dead.
The best in 60s and 70s music, plus a little bit of history. Tune into Frank Carlyle every Monday at 8 p.m. here, only on Mersey Radio.
Oh, wasn't that absolutely fantastic? Hey, wasn't that absolutely fantastic? Just before we go over to Jamie, I just want to mention Anthony Brown.
Anthony Brown, brilliant.
One of the greatest artists produced by Liverpool.
Yeah. Do you remember him in the Anglican Cathedral?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Absolutely. But yeah, remember that. Not only that, he's a great musician as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a brilliant musician. And he actually plays. I went down to see Mike McCartney.
Yeah.
In Conversation. Anyway, he was there and he picked 5 songs. He picked 5 songs, favourite songs.
Right.
Anyway, Mike McCartney did. And the artist who was playing was him.
Oh my word! Really?
It was little bands, yeah.
Good, Benny. What sort of music did he play, Frank?
He plays all kinds. He's that versatile.
Yeah.
It's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely.
Mike
brilliant.
McCartney was he known as Mike McGee at one stage? Is that true?
Yeah.
And he was in when he did Lily the Pink, didn't he? In the Scaffold and things like that.
Yeah.
Yes, he was a good musician in his own right, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But anyway, I'm going down. Jason and I are being invited down to his exhibition on Thursday.
Some people have all the luck.
I know, and it's Thursday, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. You want to see what he's done.
Yeah.
It's for VIPs, so don't be looking at me like that. You're not a VIP.
Frank only got him with Jason.
Jason's a VIP.
I think it stands for something else.
But he always listens in, you know, John. And you're a big fan of his.
I love him. I think he's brilliant. I'm really talented stuff.
Do you know Anthony Brown?
Yeah, I know the name. I know the artist, but I didn't know he was a musician.
Yeah, he's everything. Just a nice man. You know, like the way you say, oh, he's a good old dick.
Didn't he do a portrait of you?
He certainly did, yeah.
You remember that, yeah? Yeah. I remember saying they're normally quite good-looking people.
Jason, did you know this is his last show?
It's his last show every week.
Oh, it's his last show every week.
No, seriously though, it was brilliant. It was really, he captured you and the personality behind it was brilliant.
But the thing is with Anthony, when he rang me up, he said, will you come down and meet Lorraine? That's Laney, his lovely wife, you know. And I said, well, why? What do you want to see me for? He said, well, he comes down. So anyway, I went down. And he explains what he was doing for the Capital Culture Year. And he said, I'm painting it. The title is, he said, 100 Liverpool heads thinking as one. And he said, I've got these. And he was coming up with all these names. And I was going, wow, yeah. So I thought he wanted me to mention them on the radio. I really did. And he said, and I want to paint you. And I went, what? I said, you know, the way I was just gobsmacked.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a great honour, that, mind you.
And absolutely, I was so humbled and honoured. And I said, no, you don't want to do me. He said, we do. He said, I do. And Laney said, of course he does. Or you wouldn't be here now talking to us. And that's what he did. So I was one of the 100 heads. Liverpool heads thinking as well. So
and that year, it was a lot of heads thinking as well, really, in the end.
Yes.
Excellent. Brilliant.
Yes.
So is he doing an exhibition or something, though?
Yeah, he's doing this wonderful thing, and I can't say too much about it, but it's absolutely, it's outstanding, and you'll be astonished what he's actually done.
I know you can't give anything away, but
it's about the First World War.
Oh, brilliant! Right, now he's done some work like this before, hasn't he?
He has indeed.
With the famous picture of the 2 soldiers shaking hands, was it?
And Wilfred Owen.
Right.
What passing bells?
Let's get him
on.
Get him on in a few weeks, and he can tell us about it.
Of course, yeah. I'm glad you said that, because I already said when you
You've already... I knew it.
That'll be a good interview. I can't remember Anthony Brown being on for a long, long while.
Yeah, he hasn't.
To be honest.
You know, Well, anyway, Thursday we can't wait, Jason and I, because we're what you classed as VIPs. VIPs.
I think it's great of Jason to take you, Frank.
He's going to bump me in.
I know, but you asked me first. I didn't.
I suppose Anthony is invite you. No one, Anthony. Anyway, we're going over to Jamie Williams. Good evening, Jamie.
Hello, Frank. You all right?
I'm all right, thank you. So listen, Jamie, you went down. You was over there in New Brighton, weren't you?
We was on Saturday night,
and you were doing a little bit of a ghost hunt. Am I right?
We were.
And do you know what he said to me? He said, "Have a look at the pictures." And he went, "Would you like to come down? I can get you in there." And that's why I hit him over the edge. He was, "Have you seen the pictures?" No chance. Anyway, could you tell us more about it, Jamie, please?
Yeah, a friend of ours, Tony Francis Buckley, he's actually got the caves. They're called the creep-in caves, or the creep-in tunnels, sorry. And what he's done is he's opened it up to the public. He takes them on the tours, gives them the history of the place and everything else. And we said, can we do a ghost hunt there? So we booked in and we've done the ghost hunt on Saturday night. Gave us a little bit of a tour. Fantastic. What a place. It's between, is it called the Palace the Palace Hotel and the New Brighton Theatre there. There's a little entrance down between them and it's on the right hand side.
It's right for Perch Rock.
Right opposite Perch Rock, yeah. Anyway, we went down and the munitions section's still there, all the little bits and pieces are still there. There's weird paintings on the walls. I showed you some of the pictures before. When it was a rave, they used to have raves down there. And this is what Tony was telling us. And we had they once flooded it. And I was saying, Tony was telling us, they actually flooded it. And he took people on boats and took them through the tunnels on the boats. So that would have been interesting. There's also a tunnel which is supposed to go from there across to Perch Rock as well. Okay. But we don't know how many tunnels there are because there was one section we couldn't go in.
You could imagine that because for Perch Rock was built at, I don't know whether you realised this, I don't know whether you know, John, 1828. And it was there for a purpose because, don't forget, you're looking at 1828 and just previous to that, we were at war with the French, Napoleon, and so you'd have all this, like, sort of, these could rise again, or anybody else, because they had, in 1815, the Balance of Power Act. Did you know what that involved?
No.
Well, but the Balance of Power Act, what it involved was that any one man, like Napoleon, I think they all got Napoleon wrong, to be honest, any one man who rose and tried to take over Europe, all the other nations would rise and crush them. You see? Yeah. So that was the Balance of Power Act of 1815. I could imagine that a tunnel, I'm sorry to digress there, but I think, you're right, a tunnel would lead from Fort Perch Rock up to there for the simple reason if all these fellas jumped off ships, French or Spanish or whatever, I'd be in that tunnel right up, what I mean? I'd be right up there. I'm hiding away from them. Well, go on, I'm sorry, Jamie.
We had a couple group come up from Manchester, or come down from Manchester to join us.
Who were they?
The WPIT, Withenshaw Paranormal Investigation Team. We had Michelle Shaw, Wendy, Dave, and I think it was B. They come along. They absolutely loved it.
Was that the pictures you were showing?
Yeah, they were the pictures.
They were all dressed in black.
Yeah.
Is that the glamour ones?
No, that's us, Frank.
Oh, is that you? I'm sorry there.
Is that called payback?
I want to join the Withenshaw investigation people.
No, you don't. You want to join us? Oh, you'll go with them on a ghost hunt, but you won't go with us, eh?
No, because you're too frightening, Jamie.
Me or the group. But no, we had a good night. There was one section when we were calling out, and we all could hear voices, like people talking. Now, when you think how far down we were, I don't know, I think he said we were about 30 feet directly down. And you know what it is, tunnels are thick, so we couldn't hear anything from upstairs. And we could hear these little talking. We all could hear it, on and off. we couldn't get to the bottom of that one. And then one of the WPITs, we had monitors. They had monitors, which were fantastic. Cameras around, and he actually seen someone moving across. And the next minute, he was like Linford Christie. He shot down them tunnels like the bat out of hell to see what it was. He obviously he didn't catch it and that, but he said He said I could actually see the figure going across.
It is frightening, isn't it? To the likes of me, because I know that you paranormal fellas and girls, you know, I don't know whether you're used to it or you're still frightened. Do you believe that people?
I'm a little bit. I do. I shouldn't do because I'm quite logical, but there's something. I've seen one or two things in the past which I can't explain, and I have to admit, although I'm fascinated by it, I'm a bit wary of wanting to contact or get involved in it because you never know what you end up. You know, you might attach itself to you and come home with you, or if you attract something that's negative rather than positive.
Okay.
So although it's being sensible, I know I'm speaking to thousands of people here, I shouldn't believe in it, but I do, and I'm wary of it.
Why are you wary? Is it like, can I come in there?
Yeah.
You know the way you're saying you're wary of it?
Yeah.
Right. Now, there are two things. One, people, you know, like UFOs, for example.
Yeah.
Right. What are they wary of? Are they wary of whether, you know, obviously, if there's UFOs and they're there, they're real, you know, and someone's driving them or guiding them or whatever, flying them, are they afraid of the alien itself?
No, one thing with aliens and UFOs, I mean, obviously they must exist in the cosmos somewhere.
I'm just saying about wary,
okay.
Being wary.
I think wary would be with that of alien invasion and the unknown as far as being reality. When it comes to the paranormal, it's something that's a different dimension altogether.
Well, there's my second thing.
Okay.
Before I let you finish, I'm sorry about this.
No, you carry on. It's interesting.
Okay. Because we're not digressing really, because it's only what you do, you know, professionally, and the girls and boys from Wythenshawe. I'm reading, because besides history, I do, you know, teaching the history. I also teach English literature, and at this moment, do you know what we're reading? The Devil Rides Out.
Oh.
Dennis Wheatley, and it's the occult, but I only read it of a day.
Yeah.
And I don't keep it in the bedroom.
I don't blame it.
Honestly, I don't get, whoa, it's over there. But the thing is, you know, so could that relate with fear? And it's only like what you say, Jamie, you know, you've said in the past, you know, that you're a bit wary of things. And so carry on, John.
No, I think the wary is in not really knowing what you're attracting and what influence that could have over your everyday life, whether it's been somebody haunting you, or because the paranormal encompasses like luck, doesn't it really, and fate and curses and banshees and all that type of thing. Because we don't understand it and we have this mythology around it, is what actually are you picking up when you're contacting the dead? What are you opening up? Are you bringing a bit of... Because I think it encompasses religion then.
But don't you think also, John, it's also what you see on TV makes you think when you go on these ghost hunts, that's what you're going to get?
Yeah, and I think because we both have been on with you, and we've seen TV shows about the ghosties, and we know that Muller's TV shows have been really discredited in a lot of ways. You never see anything on TV that proves that there's any ghosts at all, as far as I've seen. And the only one that was the best one I've ever seen was that Dead Famous with Gail Porter.
Right, yeah, and the American.
Yeah, that was pretty good, because there were certain places they went to that there was things like the EPGs, is it? The EVPs, sorry, and other slow motion and heat capture, that when they put it all together, because we're historians, we like evidence, and one piece of evidence isn't enough. You've got to have more than that, otherwise it's prehistory and archaeology. Well,
I mean, we get a lot of you know, people coming to us, we've got this audio, and we've got even members of like the group, you know, the GhostQuest group, come and say, we picked up an EVP, Jamie, or you know, we'll all listen to it. And I'm one of these people, I will try and debunk it before I'll say it's anything EVP, you know, anything like that. I mean, there was an example the other week, is one of the one of the fellas, there was a sound and he let us listen to it, and I went, that's so and so, that's so and so, and straight away as soon as I heard it, I knew who it was, and I said, it's not EVP, it's nothing paranormal, because you've got to think logically, otherwise everything you listen to becomes paranormal, and you can't. 99% of the time you think logically. Even when we were down in the tunnels on Saturday, some of the sounds I was saying, hold on, isn't there a pub upstairs? And he was saying, yeah, but the pub's way over there.
Well, I can vindicate you there, because when John just mentioned that, we've been down there with you, and I always remember a distinct noise, and it frightened me. It frightened us all. And one of the girls went down and investigated and said, no, it was a letterbox, the wind, was rushing, and she could have easily come back. Yeah. You, John, Jamie, could have easily have played it up and embellished on it, and said, and we could have all been standing there frightened, so, that's why I do believe what you say. And you try to debunk it.
I don't agree with just saying, oh yeah, that's paranormal, when it's not. I mean, it's wrong, because it's deceiving people. It's better to be honest and say, nah, it wasn't, it was the door rattling, or the letterbox in your case, and it's better to be honest doing that, because 99% of the time it is logics. It's only when you get that little small percentage that you think, that's interesting. Like when we were in the what was the name of the theatre? The Plaza Theatre over in Northwich, and somebody sent me an EVP, and you can hear me calling. Then, I've listened to it loads of times now, and you can actually hear someone saying, go now. As if they're saying, I've got the audio, I know you won't listen to it, Frank, but I've got the audio, and I keep playing it and playing it and playing it to see if I can think logically, but I can't think logically.
But it's distinctly there.
It's clearly there, yeah.
Wow.
And that's very, it's very rare you get anything where I think, that's interesting. My EVP collections, I think there's about 5 of them.
Well, where's your next big thing?
We're back at the Plaza in August. I'm just sorting the dates out now. The theatre, fantastic place. It's a group called Searching for Casper who's got us in there.
I remember you mentioned it before.
Kind of them to do this. The last one we done it for a charity. This time we're just doing it as a private investigation for the group. So we're looking forward to that one. That should be a nice one now.
Well, give us a shout.
How can a paranormal thing be nice? That's going to be a nice one. No?
You know what? I think that the thing would be same with you. Sometimes when you go in these sort of things that you've told us about, when you've been down to Bidston or the New Brighton one, there's sometimes the places where you don't get normal access to. Like Frank, you get fantastic access to certain things like Sefton Church, and anywhere in Liverpool you want. Places where the public don't go, and that to me is part of the fascination of going on your tours, not only because of the information, and the same with your paranormal ones.
When you go into these places like the library in Wallasey, the history is fantastic, and to go into these places, it's a privilege not only to do a paranormal investigation here, but to actually see the history of the building. Like I was saying, the Creep tunnels, absolutely amazing. I recommend anyone to go and have a look at them.
You showed the pictures there, Jamie. And have you seen them?
I haven't seen them yet, no.
They're frightening. Just to be down there.
Yeah.
And
that was just our group photos, he didn't show.
Very, very eerie indeed. So it's places like that. I have been in some places, and they have been frightening. And I'm just talking about looking at these horrible things. I'm not beautiful buildings, but well, very gothic. Very
I love them ones. Yeah.
No, I don't. Because there is something eerie about them.
Well, I done that, and then I had to go back to Mill Street Barracks from there down to Mill Street Barracks straight after that investigation to lock up, because there was another group down there, and they'd gone, and I had to go back and lock up. I was like, talking about Linford Christie earlier on, I was round that building as quickly as I could, locking all the doors. And
that's what I mean, because albeit you're an investigator, you still find it.
You still. Well, I know because I know what's there, and I'm on my own. Basically, if something made contact with me that night.
Well, this is the funny thing about it, where you keep on doing it, because I know that I've heard other people. The girl, Vet Fielding, is it, who's off most often? She had an interview and said, we play off the cameras a lot. There have been times I've been crying and we gave up for a while because I felt there was something that followed me home one night. And we just had nothing but bad luck for the next 2 weeks.
I've never had anything follow me home.
And then she said after that, it took me a long while to come back. Gail Porter, she been bald. Directly after, directly after. I know they can't understand it because normally in most situations you can actually protect it with your DNA. But in her situation, she's like just got back from doing Dead Famous, and we'd been in Tombstone, and there's a famous one where she's there. She goes like that, and it looks like there's a ghostly figure behind her popping up, then disappears, and you see it. And even we were looking at it again and again, saying that's no owl. That looks like. And she came back and said after that episode, she filmed one more and said, I'm not doing anymore.
And it ruins her marriage as well, didn't it?
She said I had bad luck for the next 2 years after that as well. Yeah. And said it was these sort of things that she doesn't know if she picked up something or an evil spirit. And we think what you do is great, but I go back to kind of like when you did that thing in Mill Street, for example, and you caught a photograph, as the listeners and Frank knows about it. It was the bottom half of a leg looked like a long johns and a bare foot, and of course it looked very much like the fact that at the time it was a barracks, you had soldiers that were staying there who, when they slept and whatever, they'd be in those sort of long johns, wouldn't they? So it's those sort of things that then makes you think, is it credible? And I know you, and as Frank said, you normally check everything out, so you're trustworthy. Other things we've seen on TV, maybe not so much, but it does make you think of what else is out there, and can it do any harm to you? Do you play around with those things? But is it just a fascination that means that we've got to find out more and be scared?
Well, as the Dukes of Richelieu says in The Devil Rides Out, he said, don't be a fool, are you a fool? He says to the Simon, a friend of his, he said, are you a fool to be dabbling in this? But anyway, Jamie, I've got to say, thanks, we're having a break now. No, what we're actually going to do, we're going to play Pussyfoot's, before they come on, the Pussyfoot's couple of songs, and I haven't got them written down, have I?
Yeah.
Have I?
Religion
and Cowgirl.
Good, sorry about that. I remember you saying about religion before.
Yeah, I'm sorry there, Jason, I apologise. Well, this is Religion and Cowgirl by Pussyfoot, and these are brilliant. Just listen to this, Jamie, if you haven't listened to these.
The best in 60s and 70s music, plus a little bit of history. Tune into Frank Carlyle every Monday at 8 p.m. here, only on Mersey Radio.
Oh, wasn't that absolutely fantastic? Religion and Cowgirl by Pussyfoot. No, you wouldn't like Cowgirl. What would you do?
I would imagine it was more country and western, but that was like real sort of drive and rock, wasn't it?
Was.
Bit of a hint of 80s prog rock a little bit. Marillion, old Marillion, Gabriel, that sort of feeling about it, with a bit more power.
But alright, what are these going on about all this? I haven't a clue what you're talking about, to be honest. No.
We're younger than him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right, okay. I won't go into that. But anyway, that was Pussyfoot, and Pussyfoot are actually coming over.
Weird. They're going to play in Liverpool?
They're playing Liverpool. Do you know? Have a guess where?
Come on. This is going to be one place. You've got contacts in the Cripple place. Actually, could be the Cavern first.
Yes, so they're going to be playing there.
Good guess.
They're playing up at the festival. There's a music festival going on,
right?
Up in Sefton Park as well. So they're playing there.
A couple of gigs they're going to be going.
Absolutely, they're not just going to come over here and just like go around or whatever.
Yeah,
you see what I mean? Yeah. So it's absolutely fascinating.
They should make a heavy impact. If the live performance is as good as that, then they'll get a real, especially festival in the summer, they'll get a real big following from the youth.
Yeah, and, absolutely, because I remember the last band that came over, was fantastic, and they were Bad Wolf, along with Kappa, and they played at the.
Well, we mentioned the album before, didn't we? That was stunning. Yeah. So the Pussyfoot in the same league.
Pussyfoot are in the same league, and Monty Connor, we'll be talking to as soon as we get hold of him. I wonder if, we've got hold of him, and I think he's there. I think he's waiting. And this is all the way from Atlanta.
Atlanta, that's... Well, no, Atlanta. What state's that in? Is that Washington State, is it? Or where's Atlanta, Toy?
Well, Atlanta's Atlanta, isn't it?
Georgia, isn't it? Georgia. Yeah. Because I remember when we came on a couple of months ago and they were saying how it was sort of a nice, peaceful place. It was quite bohemian. Oh. And you and me were sitting there thinking, Georgia, you know what? The only thing we know is Georgia on my mind. And it was the rock, the Nevada next door, isn't it? It was quite.
Well, the thing is, as well, you'd always think of like a steamy sort of setting, don't you?
Absolutely.
Atlanta.
That's what I would picture.
Yeah.
And there's the Atlanta Falcons of the American football team. Yeah. Really, they were saying what a lovely place and was like calm and quite laid back and bohemian. I was like, you know what, Frank? I think we should make a plan to go there.
Why not? Anyway, I think Monty's there. Hello, Monty. How are you?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Oh, brilliant, Jamera. How are you?
Hi. The video's not working, but at least I could hear you.
Oh, well, it's a shame, really, Jamera. How'd you feel? Because you had an accident a couple of weeks ago, and do you feel okay?
Yes! Oh, my God. Thank you for asking. Thank you for checking up on me. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. But I was able to make the interview now, and that's what's important. I'm here now with you.
Yeah, that's absolutely wonderful, and I'm just so glad that you're in top form, as they say over here, top form, and you're coming across loud and clear, and everything else. Is Monty's not there then, and Julio is? Is it Julio or Julio? That's the first thing.
Is it? Let's see, Julio.
Julio. So do you say Julio yourself or Julio?
Oh, I think Julio. Yeah, because there's a lot of Spanish people in America, of course, because we're right on the border. So Julio, you got to pronounce everything in the original.
Properly. Silent J, a silent J, as they say. Silent J. So listen, what's your next big thing? What have you been up to? And tell us your next big thing. So tell us first what you've been up to.
Well, we've been recording a lot of video footage for the upcoming album, which is, we're titling that whole album Religion. Oh, nice. We've finished recording it, and it's in mastering right now. So within the next 3 weeks, we'll be looking to release that. And that's our big baby. That's our big baby that we're delivering and trying to get out into this world. So that's the big deal right now.
Well, listen, can you tell me why religion? Is there any significance about it? Or symbolic, is it? Why?
So, what happened with religion? I think, for me, it might be different. The boys might have a different answer. But being that I wrote the lyrics to the song, I think I wanted our whole beginning to reflect the fact that we all have a deep belief in religion, as far as God, and as far as our different beliefs and our different gods and whatever. But at the same time, we realize there's a space missing, and that's where we fit in. It's kind of like how Jesus was always hanging with the sinners and the prostitutes. He was never, not that he was never in the church, but there's such a gap that the church doesn't always cover that we wanted to be able to cover for the people who are still looking for love and higher being,
Yeah, of course, because it's very profound, isn't it? It's very profound. Can you see us here? Can you see us? No,
I can, and I'm sorry that my computer is acting up, so I can't.
So you can actually see us, yeah.
I'm cheating, yeah. I can see you. Hi.
You snap your. Oh, yes. I'm glad you can see us anyway, because
I can see you, and so can Instagram, because I'm also doing an Instagram live while I'm in.
I should have got my hair done.
You should have got your hair done. I should have put some makeup on.
I'm lucky I'm in the corner out the way.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, it's fantastic what you've said and your little answer about religion and religious or how can I put this? People are now they're looking towards something other than wars and everything else, aren't they? So they're looking to more profound religion, shall we say, and to come out with an album and call it. Just call it religion. Obviously it symbolises love and peace. Am I right there?
Yes, it's supposed to be bigger than religion. It's more inclusive. Anything can be your religion, and love should be the ultimate religion, I guess, as our friends, the Beatles, say.
Okay. Hi guys, it's John here as well. I just wanted to say, in that song Religion, it's really driving, it's really, really passionate. And what comes across in the lyrics is very much about you. You want to be the centre of attention. If you're going to have a lover or somebody who's going to be a partner with you, you want you to be the centre of that. In other words, the religion to the lover. Is that kind of like, as well, what you're trying to get within the albums, is saying about, as you say, true love and like a commitment, maybe?
Well, okay. Well, if we're going to do that, I'll tell you exactly where religion came from. I recently got married. Yeah. Well, not recently. It's been 2 years. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the album deals with a young woman going into marriage for the first time. And with my husband, I was discovering how to love on higher and higher levels and finding new ways to love this person until it, I practice to perfection. It's my holiest conviction. Yeah. I become a better person, and I love the person who I become the more I love. And I live in the South, which is a very religious place, but we're still human and we're still very imperfect. Yeah. So I really feel like here and all over the world, if we can get that practice in our own lives, I just know that it would. That's
absolutely. It's really romantic. That actually, it's got a real romantic feel, and what marriage is all about, isn't it? Really, you get married. It should be, for the right reasons, and it shouldn't just be a party, if you like, a quick thing that you can automatically think, oh well, I can always get divorced. It's quite a nice theory behind that. How about the lads? How about Julio? I know Julio's there as well. What's been your favourite song on the album? And the religious ones are real good. And the cowgirl, the
cowgirl.
Is just
can you tell? Go on. It's a butt in. She's getting married. Oh, she's married. So that's it. I can't be proposing anymore now. I thought I was going to marry this wonderful American singer, but unfortunately, I'm left on the shelf. Never mind.
He's really disappointed now. He's really.
I'll tell him, don't be disappointed. He stood just as good a chance now as ever.
Well, there you go. I'm still in with a shout. But anyway, I'll tell you what. Cowgirl. As John said before, we were expecting, a little bit of like country and western type music, but it wasn't that at all. It was totally different. So. It took us. Our expectations were, in other words, was blown, and our prediction that it was going to be, this wonderful country stuff, and it wasn't. It was absolutely brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
So why? I don't know. It's hard to explain, John. I think you'd be better off explaining about this cowgirl.
Well, it was just. I think we thought country and western, and we'd heard other stuff, and said it can't be. It just can't be. And then when we listened to it, it was quite prophetic. Really, it was a bit of an irony in there, if you like. But I know I was saying to Julio before, what was his? Was Cowgirl one of his favourites, or was another one on the album to listen out for, and why?
Julio isn't here, but he is here via Instagram.
Oh, right.
His responses are a bit slow, and yes, Cowgirl. We've discussed this. It's one of our favorites. All of them are our favorites, depending on which mood we're in. Yeah. But Cowgirl, we felt, was going to be the one that resonated with more people because it was still simple in its structure, but it moved, it rocked, it was dynamic, and I think a lot of people, we're getting hearts on Instagram, so I think people are agreeing that Cowgirl...
Is that the one that went live that goes down like a real stormer, or is it another one that you like to play to finish off the night?
Let me see. We usually use it as like one of the height songs.
Right.
Before we get to the end, it's like when we're just about to go up to the top of the roller coaster. Because our shows are our roller coasters. We try to start in with a bang, and then we slow it down a little bit to make you feel calm. And I shouldn't explain this to the audience, but I'll give you the secret. That's our formula. We try to make it like a roller coaster.
I like that.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Do you never go onto the stage? This is us now. Do you never go onto the stage with a formula? I think that's absolutely
cracking
fantastic.
It's planned, isn't it?
It is planned, and I think that's... Have you performed any of these songs to a live audience?
All of them. Yeah.
Oh, right. How did they receive them then?
What's that?
How did they receive them? When you played them, how did the audience react?
So the audience, they mosh pit, they dance, they scream, they cry. We've had all kinds of reactions because we're not... I know you guys are only seeing the side of us that's the recorded side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we were never that. We only recorded the music so that we could reach people out wherever they were in the world. But our live show is really what brought people to us in the first place. It's really what was magical about us. And we were just trying to capture some of that magic and put it on CD so you guys could have it too, so you guys can get a little bit of that experience.
So are you just there on your own? Is Joey Smith there? The drummer? No one there?
Actually, Joey and Monty both are on vacation. They're in the beach. They're living it up.
What are they like?
Oh, hey? They're spending the ill-gotten gains first.
Oh, well, there's only Paul Jamera there.
I can tell who's the boss of this troupe.
Jamera must have said, well, I'm gonna brave us, and I'm gonna go on the lazy over there in Liverpool, England, and there you are, Jamera, giving us loads about everything. And it's as I said before, a fantastic couple of songs, Religion and Cowgirl, and again, going to the title of Religion, and you explained very articulately indeed about why it's called religion, and obviously you've got a profound love for Jesus, as they say. Can you tell me something? Jamera?
Yes, I can.
Do you know when you had your accident? You must have been shaken up or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You must have been not to come on the show, and even Monty. I remember Monty being very, very upset because he said, we have to cancel Jamera's being in an accident. So you're all to me, you sound a very tight-knit group, tight-knit band who care for each other, and just God come into that.
Yeah, this has been the most amazing journey, I think, for all of us. I was a solo artist before, and I knew what I didn't want. I didn't want to be a solo artist because it's such a lonely endeavor.
Yeah.
When I experienced being in a cover band, I experienced being in a band. I experienced what it was like to travel with people and to have kind of a family unit. And I wanted that so bad, but it's so hard to find, people that mesh together in politics. And we were so different, but we never cared or looked at any of that stuff. We allowed for each other just to be who we are, because nobody in the band is like me. Nobody is like Monty. We're all very different. And by allowing ourselves to just be who we are, we were able to bring the best of ourselves to the pot, and make something better. And dude, that's been such a journey. It's an adventure with these guys. They're my boys, and I love them.
So this journey you're explaining, obviously you're at different paths, and then all of a sudden those paths met with you four. Am I right?
The paths met, and something happened, and we just kept doing it.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's because you had the likes of Elvis, didn't you, and Johnny Cash, for example, and they sang all these gospel songs and religious songs and everything else. And has any of these inspired you at all? You know, Elvis, you know, with his like gospel songs, or Johnny Cash and his particular gospel songs, and singing about real life, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Johnny Cash is a big one for me. I'm a youngin', so I remember Johnny Cash.
I'm a youngin'. I like that.
Yeah, so I remember him in nostalgia. It's more like, retro, kind of thing. And I went back and I listened to his catalog after I saw the movie, and I got an appreciation for him. Before him, it was more like Patsy Cline. I've always admired female voices. Yeah. So. And timeless voices.
Yeah.
In particular, Jimmy, who really for you has been the biggest female inspiration? I mean, Patsy Cline, Billie Holiday, other because your voice is very strong, isn't it? Frank was saying before, it penetrates, but it's resonant as well.
Yeah, I don't know why my voice is so big. I don't know where that came from. I've always liked Billie Holiday, and Mel LaRue is my all-time favorite.
Right.
And she's a very subtle and pretty and fluid, but she also has some strength to her character that comes out to her music. So I think I wanted to be the little fluttery voice, but it's a huge voice.
Yeah. It really resonates. It really it strikes out there. You can hear it, and with the guitarist behind it, just carries the song away. In a very Billie Holiday way, actually.
We've got a couple of messages here, by the way, Jamera, and one's from Michael Carter, who tunes in from Ireland, and he said he loved the two songs, and he would love most probably the whole of the album, and also of Jamie Williams, who's a special guest on tonight, and he said, where would you buy, both of them said, where could you buy the album, because Jamie's son would love it. He said, my son will love that, Mark. So, how about that?
Yeah, they can go to Pussyfoot, Pzzyyfoot, Pussyfoot.com, and they can pre-order the album now or on Bandcamp if they like.
Yeah.
But in 3 weeks, it'll be available all over the place: Spotify, iTunes, wherever you're. Yeah.
Are you still coming over to the UK?
We're still trying to row that boat, man. We're still trying. Of course, we're coming over. It's just a matter of when we're coming over.
Yeah, absolutely, because we're all waiting here with great anticipation, as they say, for this wonderful band, Pussyfoot. Can I ask you something? It's an unusual. It's an unusual title, Pussyfoot. For a band. Well, why Pussyfoot? Is it because you've got a fantastic voice, deep voice? You can boom out anywhere, so it doesn't put it. Is it the opposite of your voice too? Pussyfooting around, Pussyfoot.
Yeah, it's the opposite of everything. What happened was we were at a rehearsal one day. I was wearing some heels, some kitten heels, and they had pictures of cats on them. And we were discussing the band and how we were at a time in our lives where we were just going to take the music seriously as a business, and we were done messing around. And Monty looks down at my shoes and he said, Pussyfoot.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's right. We're done pussyfooting around. We're going straight for what we want, and we're not going to be shy about it anymore.
Brilliant.
Just going to go straight to it.
Yeah, we've got your logo now. I can see your logo. Jason's just holding it up, and it's a cat's paw, isn't it?
Yes.
The Pussyfoot. Absolutely. Anyway, Michael Carter from all the way over there in Ireland, and he said, absolutely amazing. and I'm definitely going to buy that wherever it comes out or whatever. And Jamie Williams' son, is also going to buy it, Mark. So it's absolutely wonderful, to be honest.
We're so honored. That's all we wanted to do, was be able to find people who felt the same vibrations we did, you know.
Well, listen, Mrs. I can call you Mrs. now, can't I, Jamera? Now listen, Mrs. Wonderful, Jamera. Do you know, if you, obviously we're waiting for you to come over here. We're waiting, we're great anticipation. And if you don't come over, would you please, you, Monty, and the rest, you know, whether it's Joey or Julio, come on the show again?
Absolutely. That you're going to be our first stop. We take loyalty and relationship, we take that very seriously. And for you to appreciate good music, even without a big conglomerate behind it selling it, that speaks volumes of who a person is to me. You know, lovely. How authentic that person is. And lovely. We like around authentic people. Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And we really do look forward, you know, to, you know, when you get here, I'm sure you will get here one day. And the likes of myself, John, and Jamie, and Jason, and everybody else, and people here who are listening in, who think you're wonderful, by the way. They said that you come over very, very well. Not like all these, I hate to say this, but they said she comes over as though she's a wonderful, ordinary American rather than the I'm not saying the loudmouth or anything like that, but you come over as a very sweet, genuine person. How about that?
Yeah, that's all I'm looking for out of other people, so that's what I give. I can't do anything else.
No, you can't, because you can obviously, but you know, I know you're not that type of girl, you know, to demand everything and be a bit of a diva. Not like some people who we know, but you're a very wonderful person, and hopefully, Jamera, and from John, it's
good night and just good luck. I don't think you need any at all, but to be honest,
from Jamie.
Yeah, I wish you all the luck in the world. I think you're a really nice, kind person.
And from me, I hope to speak to you soon, if not see you in the flesh. I mean, you know, with clothes on, that is,
Behave.
Anyway, I'm glad I've made you laugh. And hope to speak to you very, very soon. Okay, Jamera?
Yes, sir. I'm so happy to speak to you guys again. You guys have fun in Liverpool. Enjoy the game I heard you're having in August.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Again, we're all nervous, you know. We're all great football fans, as you know. But anyway, it's been wonderful talking to you, Jamera. And give our love and regards to the rest of the bands, you know, the boys there, okay?
Yes, I will. Thanks. See you, Frank.
Bye-bye, Jamera. You're
Bye-bye.
A beautiful lady, and thank you so much for coming on. And hurry up and get divorced. I can't wait this long. Okay.
Take care now.
Bye-bye.
Here.
Oh, that's absolutely... Wasn't she absolutely wonderful?
Breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
It was a breath of fresh air, to say the least. And, you know, these people are wonderful, to be honest. I'll tell you what we'll do. Shall we have a little... I want to know what love is. We'll go on to that. I want to know what love is. And Andy Gamble will be sitting there throwing up now.
Have you deliberately picked these songs tonight?
Yeah.
You have, haven't you? You have.
So
you
you
do.
can sing to them.
Yeah.
Try.
Yeah. He knows what love is now. You do know. He's a little cutie, aren't you? Really?
I'm in love and I feel fine. Who said that? Who said this?
Was that
I'm in love and I feel fine.
Beatles, was it?
It was.
John Lennon?
It wasn't John, actually.
Who was it?
Do you know who it was? It was Paul McCartney when he got married.
Right.
And he came out when he married Linda.
Yeah.
And he said, "How'd you feel?" Paul, just getting married, because he got married in a registry office, didn't he, down in London?
Yeah.
And he said, I'm in love and I feel fine.
Good quote.
And I feel fine. And that's
cracking record.
Anyway, that was a load of trivia.
That was, that was really interesting. That really good. But if you can play Pussyfoot in the future, because I think we're going to buy that iTunes.
Yeah,
Spotify.
Yeah. But it's been wonderful. So I tell you what, we'll have a little bit of I want to know what love is.
Bye.
Okay. So, and there he is, and it's Foreigner.
The best in 60s and 70s music, plus a little bit of history. Tune into Frank Carlyle every Monday at 8 p.m. here, only on Mersey Radio.
Wasn't that absolutely wonderful?
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant Foreigner, aren't they?
Oh, you can hear the passion. You can hear that. It's like, I'll tell you what it reminds me of, when John Lennon sang Stand By Me.
I was thinking you were going to say that. Because
Stand By Me. Yeah. And he sings that with his heart, in my opinion. And, when I give a little rendition of it, and Andy Gamble sent a message and he said, Frank, you're singing in tune, I'm impressed. A man of many talents. And I told him to, I forget what I said, Then I said, then he laughed and he said, mate, I'm sat here with Ollie, that's his little 2-year-old lovely daughter, rocking here to sleep to the sounds of Mr. Liverpool himself singing Foreigner. Does life get any better? How about that? Eh?
Is he being ironic?
I think he's singing to Michael.
Does he mean that his daughter's awake now and can't get back to sleep?
Was this definitely his life show?
Yeah, but tell Andy, we heard you live.
Well, this is it. Now, Is
that Andy Gamble of the Deaf Searchers?
He'll kick you out, isn't he? When he sees you. But, he's a professional singer.
Yeah, he is.
And he's one of these great entertainers who's great fella. He's taking the Michael, can you see that?
I just think you sing perfectly out of tune, Frank.
Well, there you go, you see. I think Mozart in Essex, I remember saying on the show, once, Elvis come on the Big O, we did a double. So we did Elvis and Roy Orbison. I think it was Return to Sender. In the Ghetto. No, so it wasn't In the Ghetto. What was it? I forget what it was. But anyway, the Big O one.
Burning Love. What would you do? Burning Love.
Burning Love. Yeah,
Burning Love, and I think it was Crying. I'm sure it was.
Anyway, I said, well, if you think that was the Big O and Elvis singing, it wasn't. It was me, right? So I forgot about that then. And the next performance, over like that. I didn't know you could sing. You sounded like them, not like really like them, but you did sound like them. It was them.
Brilliant.
Anyway, and when it was, never mind. It's just mad. And we've got Pish Marley listening in.
Oh, good old Pish. Canada. We love Pish. Brilliant.
Yeah. You can imagine, can't you?
He's another good musician, isn't he, Pish?
And he's got a new album out as well. And
what's it called?
You've caught me.
Because you nearly pronounce it wrong every time.
And I know what it's called, and it's something
it's
like...
About Funkin' Time.
It's about Funkin' Time, yeah. And it's horrible, isn't it?
Difficult to say.
It's very difficult to say.
Freudian slip.
And I knew you'd ask me that. That's why I said it's very hard to explain. Especially after 2 hours and doing this show. It's about Funkin' Time. I'll tell you another thing as well. I watched the original Star Trek series. And Spock saying, I've got to go and get Jim, whatever. And he said, you can't go down. This is Bones. He said, you can't go down. Anyway, he's saying, I'll have to, he said, but you're going to put yourself in danger besides Jim. And he went, no, I've got to go. And he said, are you out of your Vulcan mind? That was brilliant. You know, what? It's a classic.
It is classic.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you out of your Vulcan mind?
Yeah, brilliant.
Absolutely amazing. And it's just anyway. Look at that! Isn't that amazing? You know, so I think little Ollie is laughing a little head off there. You know, that's Auntie Gamble's. That's Auntie Gamble's little girl.
He's having needles and pins, isn't he, at the moment?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's yeah.
So that was really bad, wasn't it?
That was, you know what I mean.
But what have they done to the rain? I don't know.
Oh, these are all these are the wonderful songs that are, you know.
Searches, yeah.
The Searches.
When they perform, mind you, they sound like the Searches, can they?
They do.
Yeah.
They do. And do you know what I like them about? I think they're brilliant. As I said, you know, like when I seen them rehearsing, and you know, it's totally different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when people have seen me when I've gone out, you know, rather than see me casual, you know, going to the shop, and they go, "It's the first time I've ever seen you without a suit and tie on."
It was a shock to me first time I saw you.
No, that's what I mean.
That's what it's like, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what it's like. And anyway, it's when I see Andy and the lads, you know, the airs are brilliant. You know? Yeah. And then you see them on the night. You're absolutely, you know, the waistcoats on, the white shirts, the black trousers, and everything, and they look the part.
But did you ever ask him what his favourite Searches song was?
Do you know what? I've never ever asked him.
Because you know, the ones I liked was that Rain, What They Done to the Rain, and the other one was Crazy Dreams.
And you know, every time he walks in that room,
ask him, yeah.
That was one of yours.
Oh, I know, yeah.
I know, yeah, went so.
I went so with me head.
But you know,
brilliant.
It's yeah, there's something for you.
Okay.
And you should know this, and if you don't get it, I'm going to let you over the edge
Go
with
on.
Jamie.
Well, the two must be sparked out.
I'm going to let you over the edge with Jamie. Anyway, what it is, it's they are walking the room. I am every time that you walk in the room.
Bang, 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 bang,
Yeah.
bang, 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 bang.
How's that? Absolutely
good, that.
brilliant.
Flying pickets. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
See, yeah, acapella. Great. Anyway, you were saying.
I forget what I was bloody saying, to be honest. You know, it's amazing to think that, you know, when you're looking at these wonderful people performing, and they get up there and everyone's dancing, and a close second, Goodbye My Love.
No, forgot about that.
See,
one.
the thing is, as well, you know, what I'd like to ask, even the likes of Pish and Andy and these other people, you know, who perform, even Kappa as well, because they're all great friends of the show, is when they actually see people, you know, that are either clapping, you know, along with the song, or getting up to dance. I wonder how it makes them feel.
You know what? That must be. That's the reason why they do it. I mean, the musicians, aren't they? But if you want to go on them, you've got to want to perform. Yeah. And it's not just about making money, is it? I mean, I said to you, went to see that in Shrewsbury, Jasper Cowett, and the band was the Bevan band, you know, of Black Sabbath, ELO fame, amazing drummer. And I was watching him and this Jeff Turton, who used to be in the Rockenberries, and you could see they were looking at the fans, and when people were clapping, and there was no crowd, and they were brilliant. And they had this young girl, Suki Wu, who's only about 26, and the musicianship was amazing, and you could see them enjoying the reaction of the crowd. And Jeff Turton, who's 72 now, looking around and spotting you out in the crowd and smiling and looking back, and really, and it was a sold out gig in Shrewsbury. And it, you know, even at that age, without the money they've made and the success, just to perform and to get that a bit of adulation and also appreciation of the skill combined, it must be like an adrenaline. It must be a drug.
It is, because it must be, because I always remember I was in St George's Hall, and I was in the concert room, and there was 480 people in there. Yeah, look, now there's what Andy said. When the people start to dance and sing, I feel a job done. And that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's it.
Professional down
Well,
the
I'll
line,
just finish off by saying this. When I was in St George's Hall, And when I finished me lecture, you know, they give me a round of applause, but I got a standing ovation, and I was overwhelmed. 480 people all stood up. But the greatest accolade I got was off 240 Royal College of Art surgeons.
Oh, brilliant.
And Lord Owen. And they stood up and gave me a standing ovation. And it's great. And it's just like Andy.
Yeah.
It'll be like Pish Marley. You know, it'll be like anybody, even like the likes of Jamera there, you know, and these bands and great people. Greg Quiery, he was on tonight. Jamie as well, he was on tonight. So I've got to say a big thank you to Jason. You know, without Jason, it's we wouldn't have had a show. I have to thank Jamie for coming in and giving us his thing about the paranormal. Greg Quiery, who I mentioned. John, who sat next to me, John O Hare, great historian in his own right. I'd like to thank Pussyfoot and Jamera, as I said. And I'd also like to thank all the listeners for tuning in tonight. And God's willing, I'll see you all next week. So take care of yourself. Enjoy the weather while it's dry. And a big thanks to Andy Gamble and also Pish Marley for tuning in. Two great fellas, two great rock and rollers. And I'll see you all next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.